Good afternoon, Brotherhood. George Adventure here. So I wanted to do a video while the getting's good on the rut, on deer hunting, looking for signs of a buck. I know a lot of you guys are expert deer hunters, so this is more for the people that's just starting or they've never hunted and are thinking about hunting deer. So that's what it's for. So just some signs, and I'm on my property now, so I've been finding some signs and different things. So anyway, so this is a little area right here, and they come out of this. They like thick stuff. They bed in it. They'll bed in it, at night or midday whenever they decide to bed. But you can see how thick that is, and it gives them protection. I'll show you a trail here in a minute, but you can see there's a little small scrape right here. They always make them under a limb that's hanging down. And I'm not going to stick my foot on it or anything, but you can see this limb is hanging down, and what they do is they scrape in this, and they'll pee in it. They'll pee in it. So the doe will come, she'll pee in it. And it's kind of telling the other bucks, hey, this is mine. And then they'll take, and you can see some of the little limbs are broke. So they always make them under a limb. See right here, but they always make them on a limb, and you can see where they've been broke off. But they'll rub their forehead, their glands, after they pee on it, and scratch it with their hoofs. So they'll rub their forehead on that, and it puts scent. And so when you find these, you don't want to walk in it. You don't want to touch anything. Just let it go. But that's one sign. And you find them on edges most of the time. So that's something you got to look for. You look for food sources too when you're scouting for deer. And on this property, I've got a lot of white oaks. There's an old red oak right here, but this buck comes in here, and he's running this ridge right here, and I'll show it to you. He's also running this field, and we'll circle back, come down to the field again. But he's running this ridge right here. So he's running this ridge down through here, and I'll show you a rub. He's coming up. There's a trail, but we've seen him all the way up here. He gets right on the edge at night, so we've seen him. But he's running this ridge, and there's a reason why. And I'm gonna show you why. There's a lot of white oak acorns up here. You can see a lot of white oak acorns. So that's what he's in here for, that and the does. But the does come in here and eat. But when they come in here, when the rut starts, the food is secondary. Yeah, they got to eat, but they eat any kind of acorn. And there's a water oak. So they eat any kind of acorns. Yeah. So sweet gums. You can see the white oaks. There's a bunch of white oaks. There's a red oak, big red oak. So a lot of acorns in here. There's not as many as there was last year, but there's quite a few. There's plenty to attract them. Now here's the rub. And what you'll notice about this rub is he's rubbing there and he's rubbing there. So that's telling me that's a pretty decent buck because he's rubbing two at one time. He's putting his head between these two. So his rack's that wide and he's rubbing. He's rubbing. You can see where he's broke that limb right there, rubbing. You see where he broke that one and that one. So he means business. You can see right there. So and I've seen him, so I already know he's got a good rack. We've been seeing probably on camera on this property, my son-in-law's property back there, there's probably 6 or 7 bucks. But he's a good one. He's a good one. But like I said, he's running this ridge and running that field down there. You see that white oak right there, and they see here's another thing you look for. That's deer droppings. So that and those are fresh. Those are still wet. So you can see the droppings. They've been in here probably last night, coming through here eating. That's the stuff you have to look for when you're scouting. You got to look for stuff. You got to look for bedding areas, trails. Then I'll show you a trail. I'm gonna circle back around. But you look for droppings. See, here we go. There's some more, and those are fresh. That's fresh droppings, and you can see what's laying here. The hulls of the acorn. But you can see, you know, in deer hunting, the best part about deer hunting is learning what to look for, how to scout for deer. You know, throwing corn out, you're not learning the traditional part of hunting, and that's scouting, learning the deer, learning what the deer are doing, learning where they're at. And that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. If you want to be successful, you got to, you know, make sure you're downwind from them, different things like that. But, you know, like I said, they're running this ridge. Sometimes they run the top of a ridge right up there. We've seen them up there. But he's running this ridge right here and the field. And it could be does doing that, coming in here eating. I'm going to show you some white oak acorns. They're all covered up with leaves. But see, there's some more dropping. So they're in here a lot. White oak acorn. White oak. You can see. They may be bedding in here. A lot of droppings. And they just, you know, they just wander around and eat acorns and poop. Like I said, that right now the rut's going pretty strong, so the bucks are more worried about the rut. They're more worried about that doe than eating. And that's a fact. That is a fact. That's a white oak right there. That's a white oak. I was going to show you all some big white oak acorns, but it's probably covered up with new leaves. You can see the white oak. The best way to tell if you got a white oak is to look at the bark and look at the leaves. Then in the fall, fall time, winter time, you look for the acorns. So that's a red oak right there. So they come out, they're eating acorns in there, but they run this field too. They like edges. They like to run edges. So come down here and I'll show you a couple more rubs. Got some more rubs. looking, there may be a new one in here. But to be successful deer hunting, you gotta learn about the animal. Same way with turkeys, you gotta learn the habits of them. You gotta learn the habits of them. That way you can get in there amongst them. So here's a pretty good size rub right here. So he's tearing that up. Tearing it up. Coming in here and he's rubbing his, what they do is they're marking the territory. He's rubbing it. Then he rubs his forehead, his glands on it. So that's telling the other bucks to, hey, stay out of here, it's my place. And so I got a unique rub out here, and I'll show you. It's out here in the middle of the field, which is crazy. So I'll show you how he did this tree, this apple tree here. I planted this apple tree last spring, and I hope it lives, but you can see he's tore it up. Got up here, but the funny thing about it, he actually pushed it over, and the tree completely pulled the root ball and all out of the ground, and the tree was laying right there. So I came down here and I'm like, well, good night, man. Somebody's been down here and I run over my tree. And I looked at the tree and I'm like, oh crap, that's a rub. So that's a pretty good sized buck. They can do that. So you can see what that looks like. You don't want to touch this stuff, these trees or nothing. Just let them go, walk on by. But I'm gonna show you a trail, good trail. I'll show you the trail they're actually coming out on. They ain't messing with any of these other trees, so. But I see them, I see them out here in this field. That little spot down there, see that tree? That's a white oak tree, big old huge white oak tree. So there, where it kind of comes to a narrower area. Over here is the swamp back there, and this right here is the white oak tree, and then it goes up a hill. So you can see them a lot of times crossing. Or a lot of times there, the other day there was a doe right here, right there at this fence. And there was some droppings out here in this field. I don't know where I have to find them, but anyways, they're coming out here in this field. I got to get my camera. I think my camera's broke, but I'm gonna put some new batteries in it and make sure. If it is, I gotta go get me another one. But so I'll show you where they're coming out at. You gotta look for trails too when you're hunting for signs. You see right here. You can see that trail right there. Goes right up through there, goes out to that thick stuff where they're coming out. There's rubs in there too. I ain't gonna go in there, but they're coming out. And they're coming out here. So it's a good area. I've seen them up in here. So this place is loaded with deer. My son-in-law, like I said, he's been picking them up on his cameras. He's got 3 cameras. Oh, there goes one right there, y'all. Standing right up there. See if y'all can see it. Oh, there he is. There he is, y'all. Can you see him right here? There he goes. Big old buck chasing that doe. That's awesome. He's chasing that doe. Yep. That is awesome. That was him. He got a good rack on him. Maybe I can zoom it in and show y'all. There he goes. Going over the fence. There he goes. Going over right behind her. See him? I don't see him moving around. Chasing that doe. She was right ahead of them. They come out of that point right there. Come out of that point. Well, that's pretty awesome. There you go, going across the road. Boop. You can see the other one. Just jumped over that fence up there. Yep. He was right on her too, man. So anyway, go figure. Got to see a buck. And I've seen him a couple times, so that's what you look for. I'm at 15 minutes. Just kind of a little pro tip for looking for deer signs. And you got to see him. So anyway, y'all have a great day. And it's George Adventure. Y'all have a great day, and God bless you, and God bless when you can get out in the woods like this. Have a great day.